Okay, so what we're going to do next is return to the main program after switching back to the payment calculator project, and then scroll from that submit app we just finished in the previous video all the way to the top right below public class FRM borrowing loans heading. Okay, here we declare and instantiate the applicant object, the single applicant object of borrower class. But in this case, we add with events keyword right after dim. Okay, so it's dim with events, dim with events, okay, applicant, okay, as new borrower. Okay, and I didn't mention this, but these open close parentheses, they're really not necessary. They're assumed to be there even if you don't type them, when and they're going to still run the default constructor. Okay, so this signifies that this object will have events possibly raised against it, and we'll definitely do it, otherwise what's the point? We know there is only one event associated with the borrower class, and we already raised it in the submit app method, although we have not used this method in the main program yet, but we of course will. Next, we just declare, without instantiating, an applicants 50, 50, so kind of large enough, way more than we obviously need, array of the borrower class. Okay, so as borrower. Okay, and then we'll instantiate each array element separately as we process each of the borrowers separately. Okay, the borrower counter of sorts is the next integer variable called dim new app as in applicant added. Okay, and it's going to start as integer -1, because the first one that's going to be added is the applicant 0. As we know, all the arrays are 0 based, then 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Okay, so let's keep saving as we go along, right? So the submit click event right here, okay, consists of two sort of code sections. First, we use the already instantiated applicant object, this guy over here, okay, or the instantiated applicant object or the borrower class, to get all the data into all the properties, and that's going to be a relatively long list because it includes all the aspects of the loan as well. Then we'll calculate and display the monthly payment, and then, and this is the key piece for this particular, I guess video, then we'll call the submit app method. As you may recall, this method will then raise a loan approved event. So before we do make the call, we're going to have to create a corresponding event handler and handle the event raised against that particular applicant object. Okay, so this is going to be sort of a multi sort of layered process. Okay, so let's start by adding applicant information. Okay, so we'll move this comment to the top. There's going to be a bunch of them. So we'll go one by one, try to do a little bit of copy paste. So first of all, applicant dot name comes straight out of the txt name dot text box. Applicant dot social security number comes from the mtbssn dot text. So it's validated to be if not a valid social security number, at least it has the requisite number of digits. Then applicant FICO score. FICO score is grabbed out of MTB score, so it's again validated in the sense that the mass text box is going to allow only digit, but it's unable to force the user to enter the logical range of FICO scores, which are between 300 and excuse me 850, which is why we have this set property that we already discussed before. After the FICO score, we have the annual income, which is C double coming out of NTB income text box, mass text box. Again, there's mass text box validation there already, and then we have the four data pieces associated with the loan, right? So now you can see the containment directly. So the applicant object has a member variable credit, which is another object, so it has its own properties like the amount, which we know comes from the MTB amount text box, and this is literally the same as it was in the FRM payment calculator example. Then we have applicant dot credit dot term, that's the int of CBO term dot text. Then we have applicant dot credit dot rate is C double LST rate dot text divided by 100, I believe. Yes. And then we finally, for the credit member variable, have applicant dot credit dot type is mortgage auto loan, and comes out of CBO type dot text. So mortgage auto loan or other. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to display the monthly payment. So txt payment, that's again by directly calling using the applicant object, credit member object, and the calc monthly payment method, convert it to string as currency. And then finally, and this is the key line of code for us, we're going to run, we're going to now submit the app, right? Because we have all the information necessary, right? The name, social security number, FICO score, income, and all the credit parameters. We're going to submit that app. Again, sometimes it automatically has these open close parentheses, sometimes it doesn't. It's not really consistent. And for this to work, right? For this to work, because we know it has a raise event line at the bottom, we have to create an event handler. We have to create an event handler that's going to process, that's going to respond, I should say, to this raising raise event step, right? And this is again in the main program. So notice this is at the end of the main program, right? And borrowing loans class. Okay, there's going to be the event is raised when the loan application is submitted, right? This is right here where we stopped. Okay, and then we'll use this we'll use this event loan approved to determine whether it's actually approved, needs a further review, or is denied. Okay, so the format will look similar, okay, to like click events and things like that, right? So the format is going to be like private sub. Instead of BTN display, we're going to have the applicant, because that is now the code object instead of the actual physical button object. And then underscore, and instead of click, oops, I didn't want to do that. Instead of click, we'll have the loan approved event, okay, and it's going to handle applicant loan approved event. So the event handler header goes like this: private sub, okay, applicant underscore loan approved, okay, and then it needs those parameters: score as integer, ADJ adjusted, MTH INC as adjusted monthly income double, and then MTH PMT as double as well. Okay, and this event, right, handles, you can see the handles keyword popping up automatically, handles, okay, and then it's going to be applicant object, and it's only loan approve event. Okay, this might need to go into 2 lines. I'm not sure. Okay, so the code that's embedded in this, it's just going to be sort of a 3-case scenario. Okay, if score, which means the FICO score, is high, by that we mean greater than 740. Remember, it goes all the way up to the ideal highest score of 850, and monthly payment, okay, and let's think of mortgages because those monthly payments tend to be large, is less than adjusted monthly income, right? Adjusted monthly income, which is again 28% of the gross monthly income. Then, so you're good on both counts, right? You have a high FICO score, and your income is high enough so that the monthly payment is under the 28% of it, essentially. Then you are automatically approved, and we're going to have to use a txt status to display that. Your loan is approved, exclamation point, and we'll use that to set the applicant, last bit of information, applicant status, to, this is a string, approved. Okay? Else if, okay? Okay, if the score is still sort of high enough, greater than 700, so this is sort of a medium range score, and MTH payment is under that 28% of adjusted monthly income, then okay, you're not, your score is not high enough to be basically automatically approved. Your monthly payment is good in the sense that it's under 28% of your adjusted monthly income, but it needs, the application needs further review. So the text message will reflect that, as will the applicant status property in review. Okay. Finally, okay, the third and last case is if either the score is under 700 and or monthly payment is under that 28% over that 28% of adjusted monthly income. All right, so if either your score is too low or your payment is too high, essentially, okay, or both, obviously, then you are denied TXT status. So it's just a simple rule that is sort of made up, but it's relatively realistic. Loan request is denied or just denied. Denied. Okay, and then the applicant status is going to reflect that as well. Okay. Okay, so now we have an event handler that will respond to the raising of the loan approved event in the submit app procedure. So once the submit apps is submitted, it's going to raise this event. It's going to determine whether the loan is approved or not, and it's going to display that status, and it's going to update the applicant status, applicant object status property, and that happens all after this particular method is called, which is after all the data is placed into the applicant object. Okay, so this is a good place to sort of save what we have, switch back to the presentation, and pause.